The Supreme Court has upheld the Army's command exit promotional policy. The court has in fact directed the government to create 141 additional posts of colonel to engineers, signals and air defense artillery to accommodate those who could not be promoted due to this policy earlier. The Army had already assured the court that it was creating 141 new posts. The Supreme Court in fact has said each arm of the army, in fact, is now going to, for the very latest on that, let's now go across to my colleague Shudhi Ranjan Sen, who joins us from the capital. Shudhi, what exactly did the court say while upholding this policy?
Well, to begin with, a brief background. This entire issue, command exit policy, was brought in because it was felt that in the combat arms, that's the infantry, the artillery, the mechanized infantry, and also the armored, the combat arms need officers who are younger to keep the age profile of these combat arms younger. They had come up with a promotion policy which slightly favored the combat arms as against the supplies or the support arms like the engineers or so to say the signals. Now this had been brought up to the court, saying that the signals and the support arms like this Army Supply Corps were being discriminated against. Now there is a policy to this. That is a policy has been cleared by the cabinet in 2009. What the court today has said is it has upheld the promotion policy of the Indian Army, saying that yes, it is required to give the combat arms a slight edge over the others to keep the age profile of officers commanding these units younger, so that you have younger officers leading troops on the field, as well as giving a little bit more promotions to the other services so that they don't feel left out. As a result of which, the Indian Army or the Government of India will create additional posts for the supplies and the services arm. That is what the court has done. In a way, it has upheld the government's policy and its decision to continue giving the combat arms an edge over the others. Neha.
All right, Shruti, correct me if I'm wrong, but this really had been challenged on the grounds that many felt that this policy is somewhat discriminatory. Can you elaborate a little more on that point of view which has been presented?
Well, what the entire issue of discrimination was that if you were from the combat arms, you got a promotion earlier, then say the supplies, then say the support arms. Now this is what was being told, that whereas officers from the signals, officers from say the engineers do associate in with the combat arms, sometimes working with the combat units, they lose out on promotions at the level of colonel. Mind you, the level of the colonel is a cutting edge. The lieutenant colonel and the colonel levels are the cutting edge of the Indian Army. So because they come from arms that are supposed to be support arms, they lose out, and that is what was called discriminatory. And this is what the court has addressed by saying, please create additional posts, which the Government of India had also said, to remove this entire perception of discrimination. At the same point of time, while keeping the age of commanding officers, the average age of the fighting units lower, they will create some additional posts for the support and the supply arms so that officers can get promoted. Neha.
Also, finally, Shruti, before we let you go, as you mentioned, the court has directed the government to create these additional posts. In fact, the government had already assured the court that it was in the process of creating these additional posts. What does that now change, and does it adequately address the grievances of those who were earlier questioning this policy?
Well, what it immediately will change is that officers say from the signals corps, officers say from from the other support arms like the engineers arm, or say for that matter the medical arm, will get faster promotions. They will have more avenues of promotions. They will get their promotion in a way that will address the entire issue that was brought up against the court. Whether or not this satisfies the other the entire issue, not yet clear, but 140 additional posts likely to easen up the promotions of officers in the support arms much more than it was earlier. Neha.
All right, Shruti, thanks very much for bringing us all those details.